When I graduated from residency, um, I really wanted to love my work and to have my work mean something. I'd worked driving, 2.5 hours to work, and there was about 30 minutes away in Hendersonville a family practice job. And so I applied for it. I wrote family reproductive health on my resume. And actually, that was my stable job, despite the fact that it was part time. And I didn't hear anything, and I didn't hear anything. And I called, and I got this very strange sort of, oh, I don't think, so. And I remember later asking someone about it. And they told me, oh, one of the secretaries had gotten rid of your resume because they saw that you had done abortions. And I was like, okay, so, really your only choice then? I mean, first of all, proving that would be impossible. Second of all, I'm not a millionaire. You'd have to, be really willing to have a lawsuit that would make a difference to do anything about that. It was disgusting, kind of, to think that also that that's possible in a medical office, that someone can do that, that a woman, this was a woman secretary who pulled this resume, that she didn't mind doing that on a personal, political, or professional level. I didn't really hide that I did abortions. And I was doing abortions a couple days a week and doing family practice a couple days a week. I knew that it would offend or insult some people. And I'm sure that some people didn't speak to me about it. But the problem started a little bit when Eric Rudolph happened. He'd used on all his driver's licenses and car registrations the addresses of various abortion doctors, and I was one of them. There were a lot of people who worked in the medical field that I knew that, somebody called me and said, okay, Melanie, you think you want to be in your house? And I'm like, well, I don't know. So I went to a woman who worked at the residency program with my cat, for 2 nights. And then I was like, listen, this is ridiculous. I'm going home. Either I'm doing abortions or I'm not doing abortions. Perhaps I have a healthy sense of denial. But I was like, okay, well, I mean, it's not like I don't know that I'm doing abortions. It's not like there aren't protesters outside every day when I go to work. It's sort of like that. You don't worry about it too much. You just do what you're doing. I'd be more distressed if I couldn't get a pregnancy properly or if there was a problem with a patient than I was with this. When I first started, there were still protesters, and Charlotte had protesters all the time. And I watched them having no compunction about scaring women, threatening women, yelling all sorts of crap at them. One day when I was in Charlotte, I got a call. I had opened for about a year and a half a little 4D ultrasound place, See Your Baby Now. And there was a young woman who was working the desk there. And she called me up and she told me that there were about 10 people outside the door with pictures of, 24-week-old mangled fetuses going up and down. And she was not, unlike me, she was not used to this. And she was in total tears. When I got home from Charlotte, they had come into my house and left me a note on the kitchen counter saying, come back to Jesus. God will accept you. Stop doing this. And that was unsettling. And then because one of the things that they had, ever since the Eric Rudolph's bombing thing, if I had any roommates or anybody staying at my house, I had to tell them that if a package came, that they could not touch it. So after they came into my house, I called the police and said, listen, here's the deal. I'm an abortion doctor. They protested at my ultrasound business today, and then they came into my house and left me this note. So they sent a cop out, and it's this sort of big old house with a basement, and the basement was full of stuff. And this cop had to go and look for a possible bomb. And I was trying to make him feel better. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm depending on this guy to see if he can spot, a bomb in my house. So that was unpleasant. I think that since Roe v. Wade was overturned, New York especially, and all the states where it's still legal, saw a large increase in patients coming in. But of course, the fact that doctors are worried that they're going to be taken to court for murder is another matter. That's scary. That's scary. The world is having a fundamentalist shift, and we're just going to have to figure out how to function with it. And I'm glad that the people that know me know that if they have any reproductive health issues, they can get in touch with me. So that's why I do this. And I really do love doing it, although God knows insurance companies are trying to kill my love for it. But I do love being a doctor.